Before this video starts, I just want to mention that it's not going to really take our jobs per se, but these are the roles that you just want to generally avoid just in case it comes to that point. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into today's video. So first of all, we have call centers, voice call agents, and data entry. So these are roles that are pretty easy to do and generally less paid, but that also comes at the cost of AI being able to do that. So I think those stuff are pretty easy to do in general, so therefore there'll be less demand for it since the machine is able to do it. And number two, we surprisingly have teachers. The reason for this is many people are switching over to active recalling methods and using certain large language models for active recalling and learning from them. So yes, eventually I think teachers will also be less and less needed. Brilliant, for example, which is more tailored and personalized for individual students, whereas teaching in general is just not going to cater to that demand. And number three, we have market research, legal research, and other types of simple research. Now the reason for this is ChatGPT is able to use RAG or retrieval augmented generation and fetch from the internet and get resources and understand breakdown concepts easily. So yes, there will be less demand for research people, I do believe that. And number five, we have business intelligence. So anything to do with dashboards, summarizing data, or getting some information, feedback. These gathering requirements and things like this are easily automatable due to the fact that new voice agents and stuff are able to be sort of chained together. In other words, AI agents are able to work together in order to make these procedures. And number six, we have low-level SMMAs. The reason for this is because AI is getting better at even video production and even graphic designing and things like that, because due to the power of the AI, the clients will end up generating the stuff for themselves. So therefore, now unless you're extremely good at what you do or have a reputation for being like the best in the industry, I think people are going to have a lot less incentive to really consult marketing agencies to get things done when AI can simply do it. So you need to consider becoming a special VFX editor or someone who does outstanding film and editing projects. I've lost track of the number at this point, so the next one on my list is blue teaming cyber. Now it's not going to completely go extinct because there's always threats cybersecurity wise, and there's always someone attacking these systems. Now recently Cisco had an event where they announced one of their largest applications where this application is able to sort of detect and prevent viruses, essentially do a blue team or a SOC analyst's job easily. So therefore it's able to sort of prevent problems in real time. Everything considered, I think SOC analysts will have less demand because of the fact that these systems are getting more advanced and are able to sort of do the job of 5 people with 1 person. But on the contrary, I think red teaming and purple teaming people will be much more in demand because of the fact that companies constantly need people to sort of understand if there's any vulnerabilities in their systems and make sure everything is up to date. Yeah, I think purple teaming and red teaming people will be in much more demand than before. So next on my list, I have front-end devs. Now the reason with this is the fact that front-end devs are mainly I'm not talking about like people who can make really good UIs. I'm talking about like people who make basic UIs, even including myself. So if you're a front-end dev, that's easily doable using like modern tools like Bolt, Cursor, V0, you name it, there's a lot of tools. But the only thing that cannot be done is being like a really good UX designer where you are sort of attentive of the human aspect and the emotional aspect of communicating with an application as well. So yes, I think UX designers will also be in demand, especially specialized and good skilled talented ones. On the next level, we have ML engineers. I know it's kind of ironic, but I'm not talking about research people. I'm talking about the people who, now think of it like this: if you are training basic models or simple time forecasting type of models, it's probably not going to be the move anymore since AI itself can do that kind of work. Next on my list, I have supply chain analysts / basic work doers. Again, coming back to business intelligence, it's just analyzing dashboards and analyzing certain procedures, and especially if these systems are sort of documented, then it's probably not going to be the best bet. So to my knowledge, there's going to be robotic engineers in the future who are going to be building these robots that are going to be working in these supply chain spots, as in distribution centers and things like that, to make the supply chain process more efficient. So now I have the roles that will survive the AI race, and number one, we have cloud engineer and cloud security engineers. Now skilled cloud engineers will always be in demand because every application with its business, finance, law, you name it, is always on the internet. That and the security aspect of the cloud is of course very, very important. So yes, I think it will be in more than demand in the future. Number two, we have digital education, especially platforms that help you active recall like Brilliant or ChatGPT, for example. Anything that has to do with personalized, tailored experiences for individuals based on their learning styles. Anything that helps them get from less marks to essentially learning something over the night. But yes, with AI, it's more than possible and it's more efficient. I'm a primary example of that. I've learned so much from AI, and I can't thank AI enough for the type of knowledge that I've gotten over the past, literally just the past few months. Next on my list is purple team cybersecurity experts. Now I'll explain this, but I think it's best if you start with red teaming at this point, at this day and age, because blue teaming is not as important anymore because of the advanced CMs or AI based CMs, which can easily detect these from a mile away. Next on my list is asset managers. Now the catch here is the fact that asset managers deal with a lot of high risk, and of course AI can assist them, but they are the ones who are responsible for making the moves. Maybe in terms of research and getting an understanding about what's happening, yes, it will assist, but I don't think asset managers and people that are dealing with a lot more responsibility will be really automated. The next on my list, we have ML architects / researchers, essentially people who understand the architecture of machine learning itself, and the researchers, essentially people who make it even better. So think of like people who understand research papers. It could never be me, honestly, but yes, people who understand research papers, know how to build new things out of the existing models, and pretty much just knows how to make AI better. And I also forgot to mention the extract, transform, load, as in ETL type of people, who can create data lakes and data pipelines. So yeah, they will also be in high demand in the future. A plus point, climate, AI, and sustainability tech. I haven't heard too much about this, but yes, it's very unpredictable, and therefore there will be a lot more demand for those kind of people as well. The next on my list, we have biotech, green energy, biomedic, and health tech. It's no joke that doctors will also eventually have to learn a little bit of tech as well, because the world is moving towards a digital economy, and therefore everything is moving towards that side. So yes, eventually I believe everybody will have to sort of be on the health tech side where you are. So this could be in the form of telemedicine, you name it, in digital forms that's easiest to be receivable and usable by a lot more people. The next on my list, we have robotics engineers. Now robotics engineers will always be in demand because they're always trying to automate the supply chains and get robots running for these systems. So therefore I believe there's going to be a lot more, like these Teslas and things like that. So they're trying to get the world to be moving at a automated pace where everything is sort of automated, and therefore there will be a lot more robotics engineers demand for them. Next we have lawyers and TRC specialists, AI security, privacy, people who are interested in law, whether it's tech or corporate or even legal. They will always be in demand. I think people who are doing research, like law research, those kind of people will kind of be at risk because of the fact that AI is understanding their domain a lot more. But yes, I think AI is able to overall law is pretty safe from every aspect, and yes, I think it's a pretty good option even for the future. Next on my list, we have doctors. Now doctors, yes, a lot more doctors will be part of the equation, especially therapists, psychiatrists, because people will have a lot more burnout issues because of how complicated things are going to get. So yes, I think psychiatrists and doctors will always be in demand with regardless of the economy, especially like surgeons and stuff. It's never going to be replaced by an AI. Like I wouldn't get an AI to work on. Next we have marketing managers. Now marketing managers is a bit of a 50-50 because there's a chance that there's going to be a lot more competition because it's relatively easier to get into marketing management. If you're really good at bringing results or really good at handling multiple clients at once, or people basically a marketing manager, you will be in fact very, very difficult to replace. There will be a lot more competition since it's relatively easier compared to the other roles. Now the next one on my list, we have good interior designers. Now not everybody can become a good interior designer. It's more of like a very skill based thing, but yes, you need to be very specific with it. So yes, I think it's going to always be in demand, and that that creativity aspect of it is something that cannot really be taken away. So yeah, I 100% believe that interior designers will not go extinct. Now the next one on my list is blue collar work. Now blue collar work will always have consistent demand. I think plumbing, welding, sewing, civil engineers, landscaping, and things like that, they will always be in demand. So yeah, there's less likelihood of robots really coming for those. So yes, very, very good field. I do in fact recommend them. So the exciting news out of all this is the fact that there's going to be more music people, there's going to be more multilingual people who are unable to communicate in a certain language now can use voice agents and robots to really communicate their thoughts more clearly, and they can also write better, they can learn better, they can cross communicate easier, and there's going to be less need for translators or any communication barriers in differences in terms of languages, because people are able to use AI as a way to translate to other people. So it's going to be really cool in that sense. And there's also going to be more news channels, since a lot more people are able to use AI avatars and AI multilingual models and text to speech, and get these news research agents and bots and stuff to make media channels, which will make revenue in turn. And yes, I believe that. On top of that, I also believe there's going to be a lot more creative videos and movies. So we already see that happening with VO3 and all these new models, and I think it's just going to keep getting better. So overall, that industry will have a lot more participants due to the fact that AI is making it easier to get something of good quality done way easier. So the next one on my list is more creative writers. Now, creative writers are pretty hard to automate, I would say, especially the top skilled ones. Pretty good amount of risk for creative writers because AI can literally like tell you how to write. So yeah, most people, I heard this story where a lot more people were graduating due to AI. And they went from like a average 20-30 marks to like a 70-80 average because of the fact that they were using AI behind the scenes. And there's also going to be less multicultural diversity because everybody will be able to, multilingually translate using AI regardless of the spot they're in, whether they have a translator or not. That was always part of the equation, but translator applications have been there for a long time now. But I think it's just going to get even easier for people to communicate since you can now truly explain what you mean to another person. So yes guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, overall, I don't think it's going to replace people per se. It's just more of just to be safe. I'm making these videos just to be safe in case you're considering career options and things like that. Of course, accounts is still a pretty good path, contrary to what I said. But I don't know if it's going to be a really good path for the future. But overall, that does not mean you shouldn't do it. That just means you should do it, and you should also consider other alternative paths, because at the end of the day, the world is coming to a point where the amount of education and the amount of knowledge you have is going to be your best superpower across fields. So yeah, I don't think it's going to replace people. I think it's more or less just going to be a sort of tool for most people. But I do believe there's going to be a saturation risk because of it, because a lot more people now, if you guys have seen the stats of the first world, there's a lot more people competing and unable to find jobs because of this exact reason. Whether it's because of AI layoffs or whether it's because of AI itself, I'm not too sure, but the known fact is the fact that they're having a much harder time finding jobs. So you need to be someone, you need to position yourself in a way that you are an asset for the future, not a liability or not just a break-even type of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in my next one.